This is a good one.
It must be.
And this kind of goes back to the
New Yorkers sue the city over proliferation of outdoor dining. Can I tell you, I love this article because they give detailed, like word for word examples of what people wrote in this petition, and it's the most New York. It's the most New York thing ever. A group of New York City residents have sued the city to end the proliferation of outdoor dining that's taken place under the city's open restaurants program, which expanded al fresco dining options during the COVID-19 pandemic. The program has been so successful that lawmakers have moved to make it permanent. This week's lawsuit, though, claims that the city failed to follow rules for approaching such programs, including a mandated environmental review, and ignored zoning rules and other regulations. It claims the program is unleashing a host of maladies upon once quiet residential areas and is highly destructive to neighborhoods and residents. So these people want the program to end. But a closer look at the complaint suggests there's not a lot of there. For example, one petitioner claims the program resulted in, quote, the removal of all constraints on outdoor restaurants and bars. It's done nothing of the sort. They're still, subject to oversight and health department kind of stuff.
This part I love.
Are they?
And rule changing constantly.
It's
one petitioner says people sell drugs in front of his apartment and drink alcohol in its hallways.
So New York.
I don't know what that has to do with restaurants.
Yeah, how is that related to what's happening here?
Another laments the fact that her street once had small mom and pop, many stores and buildings were owned by individuals, but now large corporations own a good number of buildings. Which doesn't really have anything to do with eating outside.
Yes.
Another complainant said that the program meant everyone began eating outside, which caused things in her household to spiral out of control. Her husband watches TV very loud to drown out the crowd. And in turn, the petitioner watches TV in her bedroom and tries to drown out what her husband watches.
Doesn't sound
that
like
is an actual complaint.
Yeah, it won't penetrate her either.
apparently. That's what the real issue is here. Okay.
The person writing in for that is the same person who wrote to Slate's advice.
Yes. So basically, a lot of the complaints, if they sound similar, it's because New York residents have been dealing with all of these issues: rats, trash, all of that kind of stuff, smoking, homeless people. Like it's not very new. So we don't.
So it's called New Amsterdam.
We don't think this petition is going to go very far, but I say A for effort.
I think it will. I wouldn't put it past New York, honestly. And this really saved so many small businesses in the city. It's made it, I think it's brought a weird new thing to the city that it hasn't had in ages or ever had. There's almost a New Orleans quality to it that I love.
Down in Nancy's neighborhood where we have the Paloma studio, it's called Dimes area of Chinatown.
I love it. I love that area.
And they just it is open air bazaar. They block off the streets, the skater boys come out, everyone's stoned, huge spilling of bars just all across the street.
Awesome.
You know what? And you're world traveled, Matt, so you know this. You also know.
Has Matt been abroad anyway?
Thank you. Thank you for recognizing my sexuality.
Speaking of France,
Your kink is talking about the Czech fucking Republic.
We aren't doing al fresco dining right, though, because in other countries, everyone faces out.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
We still face each other.
Yeah.
Why? I don't want to talk to you while I'm eating. I want to look at everybody.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but we live in New York, and so you know that if you actually had it, where everything was facing out, you know what you would actually be looking at. It would be the crazy, schizophrenic person having a psychotic break.
Or the guy,
the rats.
Or the guy we had in the cab today.
Oh, who called?
Oh, no.
So we're getting in we get on the train, the B train.
feel guilty.
B train is not going anywhere. We're down on Grand because not only is there a train stalled on 34th Street, it is out of service and they're moving it. I'm like, how do you move a train? Anyway, we get out, run upstairs, get a cab.
I'm so sorry.
Fine, get in a cab, and this guy comes up to the window and he's like, money, 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 money. And I was like, no. He's like, pennies, just pennies, anything. And I was like, no, it's okay. And he's like, he called me a Nazi.
He doesn't say anything else.
Right away. Nothing like you're a mean
Nazi.
person. Nazi. And then as we're driving away, he takes the pennies and he whips them at the back window. We're like, whoa. What Godwin's law?
Like
even the street people in New York City.
The taxi driver didn't give a shit about any of this.
Oh, he knows that guy. He's like, it's Fred.
Yeah.
He's like, maybe she is a Nazi.
Ugh, I always get cringes of guilt whenever we have guests and there's a subway issue or it's pouring.
got Matt Housen.
Or just some sort of psycho homeless person.
We let Matt know. He told on the fort. While we were
Oh, no. Yeah, he let us know, of course, but I just feel bad. If it happened to her, who cares? But
The one thing I do hate about outdoor dining, especially in the fall and winter, is I then have to make a lot more hot beverages while I'm
Yeah,
bartending,
yeah.
and that just puts me in the weeds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you bring the hot beverages outside, and immediately they get cold. And people are like, I want this hotter. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.
Get fast, dude.
Yeah.
Gotta get one of those
Suck it
sort of like
down.
Russian plug-in,
Yeah.
electrocution outlets and just
Or-
put them on the tables.
Or bring your own thermos. Bring a Yeti mug or something.
this is why you like wearing the mask while you're working, because again, you have no poker face.
Yeah, but
and all of her customers would see the absolute look of rage.
My eyes reveal a
disgust.
lot.
Yeah.
I really have to work on not rolling my eyes. Every
How
shift.
long do you think you're going to be able to comfortably use the streeteries?
Streeteries?
Yeah, that's
The outdoor eateries, the
call it?
streeteries.
I didn't even know that.
I did not
heard
know that.
this?
I sure I pretend I made that up? Yeah.
Yes.
I'm pretending I made that up. Yeah.
Well, last winter we got those heaters, but with propane tanks. And then the fire department came by and they were like, you can't have these.
Well, and aren't there limits on how large propane tanks can be within the city?
Oh, there's so many
Yeah.
sorts of criterion.
you have to store them in a different area
Yes.
than your restaurant.
Yes.
It's a certain number
So
of feet away from the
where would this
restaurant.
be? Like
Yeah.
in the shed you
And
have?
also, it's like it can't be outside because then it can freeze, right? Or like you're not supposed to
there-
use it under a certain temperature. So the restaurants that have enough money got the electric heaters, but the place I work at is not purchasing those. So essentially, we don't have outdoor come under 40 degrees. People won't sit outside.
And it is, you know what it's like. You try to say it's 40 degrees and you're eating. It's not, you'll go home. You'll go
It's
eat
not
it.
pleasant.
You know what they should? The one thing about the New York in the 70s that they should bring back. The one thing is the trash cans. Yeah, the murder. I think that's coming back. The trash cans where they'd put a fire in it and there'd be guys sitting bebop over it. They should have that by the
Yes.
restaurants. I'm sure that's.
Well, women who aren't wearing bras anymore can just throw them in there.
Oh, that's what I hate about. Nicely done. It's a feminist message too. That's what I
Although, is
hated.
that still working through the fall?
No, it's not.
I
Believe
think-
me,
I
I've been
think it
really
was a
looking.
summer,
yeah.
Yeah.
I would rather not wear a bra in the winter. I have all these layers on.
It's true.
The thing that I don't understand is just like the extremely. I think the challenge when it gets colder is the nipple pointiness. The pointy quotient.
Or a plus.
Is that a
That's a
challenge?
good thing.
I do feel like the thing that I'm
single.
puzzled by is like when it's 95 degrees out and I see somebody and they still have pointy nips and I'm just like, wait, what? Like how's it? Like
Some of
what's
us are
happening here?
sensitive.
To the heat. To the heat. It's
Someone's
hot out
taking this personally.
It was a great summer.
It was a great
You were the
summer.
first one to really confirm that I wasn't going crazy.
No, it was,
we needed a support group.
it was Orchard
It's
Street.
just, I feel like I've just noticed this so much in all parts of Brooklyn. Like the more like androgynous art kid you get, the more like likely people are to just never don a bra.
Oh, for
ever
sure.
again.
But it's also like the soccer moms on the Upper East Side. They're just sort of
Really?
like, fuck it. Yeah. And my whole theory, and I know I'm
Is
not.
that good or bad?
It's always good.
Okay,
It's
cool.
just something. It's a fun thing to enjoy while you're doing a long walk. But like,
Straight
I
man.
know I'm not the only person to have said this, but I do believe it is directly related to people being in lockdown for so long and women being like, "Oh, hey, I don't like bras. I haven't been wearing one for a while, and now that it's kind of been done with, they're still just doing it. They're like, fuck it. Why was I wearing a bra? I don't need it."
I think that's true, but that was definitely not my reasoning. I love bras. I think
No, yeah, I
bras are
mean,
good.
yeah, you felt
But
the
to
same
not
way.
wear one if you can work it and show it off, it's fun. Like you're just out there. It's good.
I have gotten busted a couple of times, and because I'm old and I forget to do the quick look away, and they catch me and they're fine with it. Yeah, I mean,
That's
like,
why they're showing them off.
yeah, God bless them.
Yeah,
Really, that's when I knew New York was back.
yeah. It was the titties.
You see, I also like the disappearance of shirts in general. Just wearing a bra out or wearing like a,
Yeah, that's right, but not guys.
nice.
Not guys. I can't. Guys have to keep their shirts on. I'm sorry.
Oh well, yeah. I mean,
It's
No, I
almost
don't-
like this whole body positivity movement came because the market was like, we're trying to sell these crop tops, but not everyone can pull off a crop top. actually, yes, everyone can pull off a crop top. Let's say all those rolls and that cellulite is beautiful.
Put it on a billboard in Times Square.
Yeah.
This is not. I'm happy for people to feel positive. I'm not happy that I need to see unattractive people wearing skimpy clothes on gigantic billboards. I don't want to see it.
This is actually a difficult thing with women and like clothing shopping now, because now instead of all the models being like these, gorgeous aspirational, like, oh, you're like size 00, fucking awesome. Now what it is when you're clothing shopping as a lady, you see like the size 18 person, modeling the clothing, and it's just like, okay, that's great for her. I'm glad she's found work. I'm glad she's happy. I'm glad people aren't being assholes to her. I'm not that size. And so this isn't actually useful for me in terms of figuring out how this dress will hang on my body.
Yeah.
And so it's incredibly
But that's what they were saying when everybody was
I
a
know.
size 2.
Yeah.
I get it. And I think having options is maybe good because but it's funny, like you took away like the skinny bitches and now it's sort of like, okay, well, like that's not how my body will look in that.
Well, apparently nobody is more politically incorrect with regards to body shaming than those skinny bitches in the modeling community. I don't remember which podcast I was listening to. I listen to a lot. But it was someone talking about how, like, you've never heard more politically incorrect, horrific body shaming than from these runway models that are seeing more and more of this and are just going to town on these.
They're
women.
taking their jobs.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
I was recently in Old Navy because I like to do my cheap shopping there. And
shopping.
they now have this whole new campaign where it's body equality, right?
seen
And I was looking through some clothing racks and I'm seeing very large sizes and I'm like, oh, am I in
The plus size?
section?
Nope.
No, everything's mixed in. And I could not find an extra small fucking anywhere. And I'm like, there isn't clothing for me anymore? What is this? And then I saw an ad for Old Navy, and it's about like sustainability and their clothing is good for the environment or whatever. And I'm like, you got to pick a lane, Old Navy. You can't be everything. You can't go to every cause. I need one
Intersectional
thing.
fashion. They're gonna cover
Can't do it.
everything. I have seen these ads too, and I'm actually fine. If they want to have a variety of bodies in there, that's great. But what you're seeing now is it was Old Navy, and there's 12 gals, and these are big gals. These are not just like maybe 180. We're talking 320. Okay, fine. You want to tell everybody feel good about your body. I think that people that are 320 pounds don't feel so good about their body. And no matter how many fucking times you tell them they should feel good about their body, they're not. Because they're literally walking around with the equivalent of carrying this extra thing. It's also terribly, terribly unhealthy. I'm not saying you can't be kind. Of course you can be kind. But in terms of the super celebration, I think it's problematic.
It ain't good if you get COVID. That's for sure.
No, it's not. There was that one COVID case. It's like she did everything right and she still died. A young high school girl, everything right. She was the perfect model person, died. But then you clicked on a picture of her and she was like 400 pounds. It's like,
I'll
well,
do it.
I love the framing of that. Like they did everything right, as if like contracting COVID means you necessarily like did something wrong, as opposed to just like, bad fortune befalling you. Right?
She's